Good day. Presenting a solve for the John Collins Black Treasure Inside Past and Future box. Looking at Sunnyvale, California. Gonna hopefully share this with you. Let's see if I've got the share going. Looks like it's good and on the screen, so I'm gonna jump right in. So I think the Past and Future box is located at the Compass Rose in Bixby Park. And the reason I say this is because in the book, John Collins says that he didn't have any idea how to start a treasure hunt, and so he Googled it. He did a word search. So what do? He puts a word search puzzle in one of the stories, and he also puts a cryptogram in there. And both of those are telling you that you need to look for a word search. Well, Google is probably the most used word search, maybe being replaced with AI applications now, but it's a word search. That's what Google is a word search. So if you find where Google is headquartered, and then just kind of work your solve from there, you'll end up at the Compass Rose. Now, the thing you need to know is that the Compass Rose is basically this design that's mentioned in the cryptogram, how you get to it. It describes a path to get to this location in the cryptogram. But in the word search itself, it has the words west, east, north, and south. And it also then has the lilac bush, the word lilac. And so if you get to this location, it's surrounded by some lilac bushes. And so I think that might get you there. But why would you want to look here? Well, first of all, the Computer History Museum is right here, and that's the past. The Googleplex is right here as well. Some other businesses of the past that were in this area is Atari. Another business in Sunnyvale is Lockheed Martin, and I suppose they might have had something to do with that Amelia Earhart flight. So again, the past of this has to do a lot with the theme of the chapter of the past and future. Well, what are some of the companies located in this area that might represent the future? Well, certainly you've got companies like Apple, LinkedIn, Google, Amazon, Meta, Walmart Labs, 23andMe. So all of these are companies that are in Sunnyvale. And in the game that is Ready Player One, the prize is the keys to the world's largest corporation. Well, in the first part of the book, John Collins Black tells you about Wozniak and Jobs and how they founded the largest company in the world, Apple. So again, you've got all of these elements that work together. Atari, we all remember from the 1980s Pong, is a video game launched in Cat's Tavern. And just out of fun, the Atari stands for the most ancient board game called Go. That's about as far back as you can get. I think that the word search actually gives you the message the mission is play, and because you can anagram play in the last part of that word search. So you get to this area and you've got the lilac garden, and you wonder, well, but where's the quarry at? Well, there is a quarry. Basically, this quarry is in this section here, right along that area. There's also a water filtration and treatment plant right here as well. He talked about selling a water treatment product in one of the chapters in the very first part of his book as a job experience. Well, the Sunnyvale wastewater treatment plant, where they turn brown water into clear water, is there as well as the other. But let's look at the game, the movie War Games. And again, this is a strange game, after all. So in the movie War Games, there's a computer that controls the nuclear arsenal. It's called the Whopper, if you will. And the kid from Seattle, his name's David, ends up getting away back into the machine. And it's a strange game. The only winning move is not to play. Yeah, so that might be the only winning strategy. You remember when this JCB hunt first came out? There was a map of the United States that had the different quadrants on it, and kind of looked like the one I found in the War Games movie. Oh, okay, yeah. So I was curious to see what number was actually dialed in order to get into the nuclear destruction computer. And I just did this on a fanciful idea. I didn't know if I'd come up with anything, but it's interesting that the numbers that you get out of the word search are 3, 11, 12, 5, and 19. So if you look at dialing Sunnyvale through the computer to get into the Whopper and the movie War Games, you get the numbers 3, the number 11. You add 3 plus 9 together and you get the number 12. You can then add 2 and 3 together and you get 5. That leaves you with 6, 4, and 9. And that's 19. So it's an interesting coincidence that the word search numbers is the number that the David was dialing in the movie War Games in order to reach his destination. Now, I don't know if this moves your search location over to the former site of the NORAD control center that was located in California at the time or not, but I think that one of the promotional videos had that map up there, and everybody thought that map was to show you where all the chests were in the United States, and maybe somebody on his team knew a little bit too much about what he was doing with his solve, and put that in there, and then he had to come out and say, "Oh, well, I didn't really mean to put that map in there," because it might have given out a little bit too much information. But if you look at him mentioning the word harbor in the book, in this chapter, and you mentioned him using the word excel in the story, that you could excel at something. Well, I can show you where Microsoft is on the map if you want. Certainly you would excel there. In the last part, he's talking about watching the traffic. The 101, I can tell you the 101 probably has a little traffic on it. And so you're gonna have the 101 with the traffic. So if you look at the history of gaming, where these movies lead you, and these different factors, I think you can come up with an idea that this lilac field next to the compass rose, and if I remember right, in the first part of the chapter, he was talking about one day you might be walking with your girlfriend or your significant other in a patch of roses and having a magnificent discovery. And the fact that the north, south, all this is in there, the fact that the word quarry is in there, I think might be pretty good proof that this is going in the right direction. So all that I ask is, if you happen to go to the compass rose and look at the lilac bushes and find the past and future box, that you might remember maybe the idea came from this video and it assisted you in some way, and maybe you can fling a little bit of Bitcoin my way. even though I don't have a crypto wallet. Uh, anyway, all right. So I'm gonna in this. Go back to my regular camera and say that, I think that if you look at this as a possible solve location, uh, there's merit in at least exploring it because I think it explains the theme. The overall theme of this chapter, I think, is technology, computer science, innovation, Bitcoin, uh, video games, movies about that type of thing. Amazon's there. If you like the Monty Python joke that John Collins Black's making, there's a good case for the Monty Python joke in there as well. But I think these puzzles in this book are actually easier to solve than to actually try to derive the actual city and location from the word search. I think we're done with the word search. The word search is done. You don't need another 3-hour show on the word search. The word search is just the pun that you're looking at something to Google. The cryptogram is just telling you that some of the things that you're going to see if you take that walk up to the Compass Rose. It also, in my opinion, describes golf. And there's a couple of golf courses that are in this general area of the Bixby Park. And so I think if you look at it from that perspective, that the cryptogram, kind of is read as a poem, from rock to field, from strong to stream. Well, Stevens Creek is actually probably a stream that, if you trace it back, would, without all of the changes that's happened on the bay, be a creek that was right there. Past tree and post to forest green. Again, that could be talking about the golf course that's immediately adjacent to Bixby Park. If you were going from the Google headquarters, taking a walking tour along the route that takes you by the golf course, you would get there. You know where beauty sheens, it's under, over, in between. So, golf scoring obviously is over par, under par. And the in between, haven't probably got the best answer to the in between part of that. But if you look at the word search and the zeros are all kind of lined up there. The other thing that I forgot to mention about the movie War Games is that the way in which the hero of the movie goes about solving the problem of not having thermonuclear war was by giving the computer the task of solving tic-tac-toe. And in this word search, you have all these zeros and one X, and you're looking for patterns that are either vertical or horizontal or diagonal. Oh, hold on. I just described tic-tac-toe. Vertical, horizontal, and diagonal lines used to play a game. And so, well, anyway, back to the movie War Games. And they use the game of tic-tac-toe to solve the problem. And like I said, when you look at the grandpa's house, you'd peer over the shoulder while he worked solving one of these games. Perhaps the only thing my grandfather enjoyed more than his Riddler was counting the vehicles that passed in front of his yard. Well, like I said, this is the Highway 101, busiest freeway for you. So some of the other words in this book is favorite childhood games and pop culture references. And again, I already talked about the Ready Player One references. The largest company in the world is the prize for solving that, and that Apple was the largest company in the world. when it came to devising a solve for this treasure box's location, I imagined I too could use games from my childhood to create our solve. So that's how he ended up doing word search. I imagined I could also. I wasn't a genius like Ernest Klein. I'm aware of my limitations, and I certainly would not want to overpromise something epic and then underdeliver and disappoint you. Well, if you're going to deliver something, if you're going to be a company that delivers a lot of stuff, well, that's going to be Amazon, obviously. I wouldn't want you to not deliver Amazon. Uh, that would be something epic. Uh, and not getting the delivery would be certainly disappointing. So anyway, however, I was able to remember one game from my childhood that I felt capable of bringing to this book. It's not as fun as Pac-Man. It's not as imaginative as D&D. Okay, so all of these games that are mentioned in the book, like Adventure, Zork, and D&D, were text-based games where there was a prompt on the screen, and then the player would reply. And if you watch the movie War Games, you'll see that this is a game and is initiated by typing in an answer to a question, and then that gets you into the series of games. So he goes on to say, I'm pretty sure you can excel at it. I'm pretty sure you can excel at it. Well, this is a direct hit towards Microsoft Corporation because one of their flagship products was Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, right? And so since those were the three flagship things, just don't get upset at me if it's too easy. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Remember, I already told you that you're not required to be a genius to find any of our treasures. Well, how many geniuses do you think reside in the Palo Alto, Sunnyvale area? So, again, he talked about virtual reality earlier in this chapter. The one thing that I haven't really narrowed in on is the Easter egg, because I don't know the Easter eggs are in the thing, uh, the word search. There's a lot of Easter eggs in there. Um, I don't know, maybe golf balls are Easter eggs, but he uses the word Easter egg a number of times, and he uses holidays a number of different times. He really didn't have to explain this whole game of holidays and Oasis as many times as I think he did, because the word Oasis appears in here, many more times than were required. And he spent more time on Oasis than I think he needed to. So there's probably something in that passage. The unexpected and shocking news arise. James Halliday, the founder of Oasis, has died, and the entire Oasis company is now available for a new owner. With his will and testament, Halliday gives birth to the most valuable treasure hunt in human history. Millions of players begin a massive VR hunt for Halliday's hidden egg. So there's got to be a clue in that information about Oasis. And he spends a good amount of time talking about the Caucasus coin. And I found out that this guy's name was like Mike Campbell or Caldwell or something like that. And he basically put Bitcoin on these coins. And the company that he sold out to is located in this general area of Palo Alto, California, uh, Sunnyvale. And so, if that's a direct link to that, then of course. The other thing is that he spent a lot of time talking about virtual reality. Where is the hotbed of activity when it comes to new virtual reality? Um, I think it's probably in this area. He talked about mining Bitcoin every 10 minutes. Uh, I think that whole mining conversation was to get you to the gold mining district of California that was discovered during the gold rush era. Uh, and that's, of course, Sutter's Mill. That's, of course, this part of California, not Lake Tahoe, not East LA. I mean, one of the guy's names is Watts. I don't think this guy hid a treasure in the middle of the Watts in the Watts district, so um, probably not relevant. But the fact that he says that several months later, the sleek and elegant work of art arrived at my doorstep in California, I think he's undercomplicating the puzzle by giving you some information on which to go on. And he also starts off the story by saying, one morning I was talking on the phone. Well, one day, uh, David, the protagonist in War Games, was dialing numbers in Sunnyvale, Colorado, trying to get into a company's mainframe computer so he could play some games like chess and some other things. And again, I'm heavily relying on my knowledge of the movie War Games to draw comparisons to that and this treasure hunt chapter. And I apologize for overly specifying that, but he's talking about being on the phone. And the one big theme in that movie is about the use of the telephone to get into that. During our chat, I mentioned to Seth how cool I thought it would be to have a futuristic style treasure box. It might harbor a technological treasure. Where in the United States of America will you find a technology harbor? Pretty sure this is the technology harbor. Uh, Tying up boats along Lake Tahoe, I don't think that's a technological harbor. Several months later, okay, when I unwrapped this box and held its cool steel in my hands for the very first time, I couldn't help but notice its weight, its heft. He uses the word heft instead of weight. There's probably a reason he used the word heft instead of the term weight. I don't know if the hefty trash bag company is located here, but there's got to be a reason he used the word heft. The treasure box is crafted from steel, carbon steel, stainless steel, and brass. Its sleek aesthetic harkens to a world yet to come. The top and bottom are glassy smooth, but its sides are forged to make an undulated texture that appears not unlike the surface of the moon. I think there is a moon reference, like maybe crescent or moon bay or something like that in this area that could uh, give you some further direction on that point. It took me a while to figure out how to open this box, as it looks almost identical on all sides. Well, There used to be a building in Sunnyvale that was called the Cube, and the Cube looked pretty much the same from all sides. Uh, I'm not saying that a Rubik's Cube is required here, but anyway. There are 5 steps to unlock it. Once successful, I peered into the depths and pondered what treasure items it might hold. So then he goes on to talk about the digital assets that were born just 15 years ago by an anonymous creator. So we're talking about the world of technology and AI. So again, if you look at the spots on the planet in the United States of America where you have AI technology, uh, I think it just leads you to the logical conclusion as to where this is located at. So that's going to wrap up this presentation on looking at John Collins Black's treasure, looking at the word search, looking at the cryptogram, uh, and using the theme of the chapter to arrive at a location where the treasure could possibly be located. Should you find such wonderful treasures and you've used this presentation to assist in doing that, I would hope you would, in kind, maybe at least mention uh, that I have the idea and the location. And so until I do my presentation on the next puzzle, which is the Appalachian footpath box, and I'm pretty sure I've got this one located as well, based upon the theme of the chapter. I think I can present a solve on it as well. So anyway, have a good day. Hope to chat with you later.